Well, the FBI shut down China-linked hackers targeting some of the most sensitive systems in the United States, including NASA, the Federal Reserve, the Justice Department, and the U.S. Senate. The DOJ is saying it has now seized 2 hacking platforms used by the operation, disrupting a network that also targeted hospitals, financial institutions, power companies, and other critical infrastructure. Joining me now is Gatestone Institute Senior Fellow Gordon Chang. Gordon, your reaction to this, I'm assuming you're going to tell me that you're not surprised, but how bad is this threat, in your opinion?
Good morning, Cheryl. This has been going on for decades. So, for instance, Xi Jinping in 2016 came to the White House and said, look, we will no longer hack non-governmental institutions, and yet they're doing that. So the issue here is we know what they're doing. We have the means to stop them. And why aren't we stopping them? So we need to impose those costs on China so that they will look at the calculus of their risk reward and come out with a different answer. So we need a national conversation about this, because this is no longer about China. This is about us.
Yeah. I also wanted to ask you about, we've had this trade war kind of erupt between the United States and Canada. And one thing that we have seen happen with regards to the Canadians is they've been cozying up to the Chinese, in particular, in the auto market. I know you've talked with Maria about this, but I wanted to get your thoughts on what you've heard this week.
Yeah, well, President Trump deserves a lot of credit for raising serious national security concerns that we have with Canada, but he needs to solve them. And this has gotten worse. And now we have a Canada which is very close to Beijing, closer to Beijing than it is to Washington. And this is important because those national security concerns still exist. So we do not want the Chinese even more on our northern border, because if we think Greenland is important, Canada is far more important. And it's time for the administration in Washington to get serious about accommodating Canada. This is something that's going to have to be done, because we do not need the Chinese just miles from our border.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm glad I got that in with you. I want to ask you about the Trump administration going after these Chinese firms that are tied to Iran's oil trade. Treasury Secretary Bessent did sanction dozens of Chinese companies and entities accused of helping move Iranian oil and revenue. China is Iran's biggest oil customer, as you know, giving Tehran a critical source of cash as the U.S. tries to cut off that revenue. As of right now, the U.S. has not targeted Beijing's financial institutions, but Secretary Bessent did say no one's above sanctions during the announcement earlier this week. Here's the Treasury Secretary.
Chinese banks have often been talked about being targeted, but we don't see any of those institutions targeted here. Is that something that is coming in this campaign, or is the very delicate trade truce with China something that could prohibit you from going that far and taking that very big step?
We want to make clear here today that no one is above the reach of U.S. sanctions. That if they facilitate transactions and are part of the ecosystem that turns Iranian oil into money, into repression, they will be targeted. We find that the best way to engage with countries is through quiet diplomacy, and we are level setting with every country to tell them our expectations. We know who they are, they know who they are, so when the hammer of U.S. Treasury actions falls upon them, they will have no one to blame but themselves.
Gordon, your thoughts on that?
There have been so many warnings from Secretary Bessent to the Chinese about this, and yet there's been no action. And the action that is absolutely needed is to invoke Section 311 of the USA Patriot Act to declare Chinese banks to be a primary money laundering concern. And it's not just for handling sanctioned Iranian transactions. Chinese money laundering gangs have taken over the global business for that in the last 4 or 5 years. And those Chinese money laundering gangs run the proceeds through the Chinese state banking system, which is tightly controlled by Beijing. I mean, we didn't allow Pablo Escobar to run money to New York, but we're allowing the Chinese to do that. And effectively, we have said to the world, yes, we have money laundering laws, but they don't apply to China. Now, if you look at Kepler data, Cheryl, it shows that China this year has gotten about 1.2 million barrels a day of Iranian oil, which is just slightly below what they got last year during the same period. So the Chinese banks are in this thick and thin, and we just don't do anything.
Mark Tepper, jump in here. This is the power of the U.S. Treasury. This is Secretary Bessent going after our enemies.
Yeah, and it's fantastic. And, you know, China, when you think about, Gordon, when you think about China's economy right now, I mean, it's obviously in trouble. I mean, it is they're facing deflationary pressures, which works very well when you are exporting goods, but it's also a demand destruction vehicle when you are trying to ramp up your own consumer spending. What kind of an impact could further sanctions have on an already deteriorating Chinese economy?
Yeah, that's important. And certainly the Chinese economy right now is not growing at the 4.3% pace that they reported for Q2. It's probably contracting. When we look at the numbers for July, the underlying data, it certainly points to an economy getting smaller, not larger. So anything that the United States were to do in this regard, I think would have a disproportionate effect, which would be good, because under Section 311, you know, Chinese banks could no longer handle transactions in U.S. dollars anywhere in the world except for paper currency. And that means this would have that big effect. Now, Secretary Bessent doesn't want to lower the hammer, but then again, the Chinese are not changing their behavior. So we got to make a choice. Do we allow the Chinese to launder money? Do we allow the Chinese to continue to support Iran in this war? Or do we do what's right for the American people and for the people of the world? I mean, if Iran can't have a nuclear weapon, you can't allow the Chinese to launder money through New York.
Very well said, Gordon. Real quick before you go, I got to ask you about this. Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates wants to take AI safety straight to Chinese President Xi Jinping. He's working to set up a meeting during a possible November trip to China. He told Reuters he believes China could agree to restrict the release of potentially dangerous AI models if the U.S. acts first. And then he also says he wants countries to monitor AI's ability to create molecules and potentially enable biological attacks, calling for a new international framework to manage the risk of AI. So, Gordon, that would require cooperation between Washington and Beijing, while both of these countries are racing, of course, for dominance in AI. Your reaction?
What Gates said sounds reasonable, but the problem is that over the course of decades, we have taken this approach where we have tried to entice the Chinese into good behavior. And it has never worked. I mean, the Chinese rarely honor the promises that they make. They never honor promises they don't make. You know, we tried this, for instance, with space weapons, and this is a critical vulnerability that the United States has right now. Because we tried to get the Chinese to say, look, you know, we're not going to have space weapons. You shouldn't either. Well, they were not enticed. And right now they've got a very important dominance in space, which could be critical in a war. So, no, let's not do what has not worked in the past. And Bill Gates needs to come to the party and understand that the Chinese are not his friends. And by the way, who spread COVID beyond its borders, despite all of our enticements on health? Well, that would be Xi Jinping.
Yeah, no, I've got Rebecca Walter on set, and she was having the same reaction to this kind of ridiculous, you know, idea coming from Bill Gates of all people. So, Gordon Chang, so much that we've covered with you this morning. It's always great to have you on the program. Thank you for being here.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Cheryl.
All right, we'll be right back, everybody. Stay with me.